Betrayals that genuinely made me mad. Not the little plot twist or the, oh, I didn't see that coming. I'm talking about betrayals that made the entire internet turn on a character. These are betrayals where you don't even want to hear their reasoning. Like, I ain't trying to hear all that. You know what you did. But let's get into it because the first one was something else. I'm talking about Griffith. And just saying his name makes me mad. And it's because he didn't just betray the MC, but he betrayed everyone else. His clan, his closest friends, and people who trusted him with their lives. They're all gone so he could chase his dream to rule a kingdom. And that's what makes it worse. He didn't do it out of panic. He didn't do it as an accident. He sat there and chose to do this. And the crazy part is, Griffith was cool. Everyone liked him. I even watched this show and knew he was a bad guy. But his charisma made me think like, oh my gosh, I don't know how he's going to end up being bad. There's no coming back from what he did. I don't think any apology he gives could bring him back to grace. He's going to be hated forever. Next up is the snake herself, Rachel, from Tower of God. She's not worse than Griffith, but she's up there. Like, imagine waking up in a cave with no one by your side and this girl randomly pops up in there. She starts to talk to you and she's starting to teach you words and becomes your whole world. She's not just your friend. She's the only human connection you've ever had, right? Later on, she begins acting strange, talk about she want to see the stars up close and all this crazy stuff. So like the loyal stand 10 toes type of guy you are, you follow to help her. To reach her dreams, you must fight others and you gotta risk your life against monsters. And just when you think you can do it, just when you think, oh my gosh, I can get her there, I can repay her for all the sacrifice she did for me, she pushes you off a platform to be torn into shreds by monsters and leaves you there for dead. Like, are you serious? I don't even think I have to explain this anymore. She knows what she is. She'll never be forgiven. Now let's talk about Shane from The Walking Dead. And this one kind of hits a little bit different because this one is more realistic. Like, this can happen in real life. Like, Shane and Rick were like best friends. They were basically family until all the chaos happened with the zombie apocalypse. Now, Shane isn't even a bad guy in the beginning. Rick gets shot in the line of duty before the zombie apocalypse, putting him in a coma, and everybody around him thought he was dead, including Shane. So he steps up during this apocalypse and takes care of Rick's wife, Lori, and his son, Carl. But it starts to get a little bit weird because it's like he started doing more than just taking care of them.
Is this nigga serious?
But fast forward a couple of episodes later, Rick's not dead. He comes back and he sees everybody, including Shane, his wife, and his son. And immediately you can see the vibe change. Like, Shane isn't really the same anymore. Every decision that Rick makes, Shane kind of opposes it. And it gets to the point where Shane feels like he's the better man. He even says it. Now, you may be thinking, dang, after all this, maybe they come back together and they hash it out. No. Shane goes off and he attempts to kill Rick out of desperation and fails. And that's why he's on this list, because it's so realistic. Like, this can happen for real. This has probably ended friendships in real life. Last but not least, Scar from The Lion King. And this one is low-key crazy because most of us watched this as kids and didn't even realize how messed up it was. Like, yeah, you knew Scar was the bad guy. He looked evil, sounded evil, all that. But when you really think about what he did, it's just crazy. Scar didn't just betray Mufasa. He betrayed his own blood. His brother trusted him, like, no suspicion. And Scar knew that. He waited for the perfect moment and took advantage of it. But the worst part isn't even the fact that he killed Mufasa. It's what he did to Simba right after. He looks at the kid in his eyes, his own nephew, and convinces him, yeah, your dad's death is your fault. And then lets him run away, knowing full well that Simba is carrying that guilt with him. Like, it's crazy. And then Scar just takes over, lies to everyone, becomes the king, and completely ruins the kingdom. The land is dying, everybody is starving, and Scar just sitting up there like, it ain't my fault. What makes Scar so hated is that there's no emotion behind it. He didn't snap. He didn't lose control. This wasn't even rage. This was just pure jealousy built up over the years. He didn't want the throne because he knew he'd be a good king. He just didn't want Mufasa to have it. And once you realize that, Scar's betrayal goes from like a cartoon villain to like, nah, this dude's actually crazy. Alright, yeah, that's my list. These aren't just betrayals that surprised me. These are betrayals that actually made me mad, like ruin my mood. And what makes them worse is none of them were accidents. Every single one of these characters made the choice. They knew what they were doing and still did it. If I missed a big betrayal that you hated as well when you first watched it, drop it in the comments. I already know there's some wild ones I didn't even touch on. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Bye.